Hi, it's my pleasure to talk with you this evening about my citizens' petition, the Humane Pet Store Bylaw. During my presentation, I will be making a number of general claims. If you'd like supporting evidence behind any of my claims, please contact me. I'd be happy to provide you with the information. On a personal note, this is our golden retriever, Honey Bear. She was a breeding dog at a puppy mill in Maine for the first 8 years of her life. She lived with 50 other dogs in an isolated trailer, survived a kennel fire, and was bred over and over again until no longer profitable for them to keep. Ending the suffering of dogs like her is my motivation to do this work. This bylaw would prohibit pet store sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits, thereby guaranteeing that puppy mills will never do business in Lexington. As a side note for simplicity, I use the term puppy mill to refer to all 3 animals, as the issues are the same. The bylaw would still allow pet stores to partner with rescues and shelters by providing space for them to display adoptable animals, a humane business model that's already highly successful in thousands of pet stores around the country. The bylaw will not impact local reputable breeders because such breeders do not sell their animals to pet stores. Families would still be able to purchase the puppy of their choice from such a breeder or adopt their pet from a rescue or animal shelter. Importantly, this bylaw will not impact any current Lexington businesses, so we lose nothing by taking this preventative measure. Similar bylaws have already been passed by 9 other Massachusetts municipalities, over 400 municipalities nationwide, and 5 states. In order to understand the justification for this bylaw, the first thing you need to know is the definition of a puppy mill. Puppy mills are inhumane commercial breeding facilities that mass-produce animals for profit. They are usually medium to large-scale operations that can have hundreds of breeding dogs, producing thousands of puppies a year, and raise their animals in absolutely abhorrent conditions that would horrify the general public. It is common practice for dogs to live their entire lives in tiny, stacked wire-bottom cages, barely big enough for them to turn around, or in outdoor enclosures exposed to extreme elements. Poor sanitation, lack of appropriate grooming and veterinary care, inadequate or contaminated food and water are also frequent occurrences. Dogs almost always receive little to no exercise or socialization with people. Mother dogs like Honey Bear are often bred at every heat cycle for their entire reproductive lives. The second thing you need to know to understand the justification for this bylaw is that pet store puppies come from puppy mills. This fact is well documented by state and federal agencies thanks to mandatory records that are required when animals cross state lines. Undercover videos by animal welfare groups provide further first-hand evidence. For example, in 2018, the Companion Animal Protection Society conducted an investigation into some of the puppy mills that supplied Massachusetts pet stores that year. Here are a handful of those mills from that undercover video. Please be on the lookout for the very conditions I just described.
This one is solely because of the brown eyes. A lot of people want blue eyes. Pet stores just go wilder. Actually, they're going to the puppy place. Puppy place and doghouse are partners, are same owner.
And in Massachusetts, you can breed every heat. Do you have to skip cycles?
Usually I breed them every time.
Please know that the mills like the ones you just saw are the norm and don't even include the most egregious offenders. Of course this is terrible, but Lexington does not have a puppy-selling pet store, so why do we need this bylaw now? One reason is because the pandemic puppy craze could easily provide the incentive for puppy-selling pet stores to expand into new markets. This comes at a time when the wave of municipalities passing such bylaws continues to grow. leaving the remaining municipalities at greater risk to the puppy-selling pet store industry. Plus, as you know, Lexington has many available empty storefronts that could accommodate such a store. It's far easier to prevent this from happening in the first place. So what are the primary positive impacts of enacting this bylaw? The bylaw will protect consumers from deceptive marketing practices. Pet stores lie about the true origin of their puppies by promising that their puppies are hand-picked from local reputable breeders. Nothing could be further from the truth. Consumers are also protected by safeguarding them from purchasing puppies with serious health and congenital problems, common in puppy mill animals due to bad breeding practices, neglect, and lack of appropriate veterinary care. This bylaw reduces public health risks. Pet store puppies can carry zoonotic diseases which are transmittable to humans, most notably the highly antibiotic-resistant strain of Campylobacter, which the CDC has identified as a public health risk that is uniquely associated with pet store puppies. The bylaw promotes humane business models. By keeping puppy-selling pet stores out of our town, we reserve the available pet store market for those businesses that operate using a humane business model. Lastly, this bylaw will prevent negative media attention on our community. When a puppy-selling pet store opens in a town, protests outside the store are common and are covered by local media outlets. This type of news coverage conflicts with who we are. There are secondary positive impacts beyond the direct benefits to our town. We have an opportunity to make a public statement about our community values. I feel safe in saying that protecting consumers and taking a stand against an inherently cruel industry is something that the whole community can embrace and take pride in. The last 2 points on this slide speak to the positive impact we can have on millions of dogs, cats, and rabbits that are suffering in the puppy mill industry. Dogs like Honey Bear. Every town, city, and state that passes pet store bylaws puts economic pressure on the puppy mill industry and contributes to the likelihood of passing state and federal legislation. In closing, I respectfully ask you to support the Humane Pet Store Bylaw. By doing so, we protect animals and consumers, promote humane business models, and preserve our community values. Thank you very much.